Welcome back, everyone. Today, we're diving deep into the really unpredictable world of crypto predictions. And FLR, FLR, it's a perfect case study for this.
Absolutely.
We're going to explore FLR's price predictions, looking at everything from, the immediate future all the way out to 2050.
Yeah, it's quite the range.
It really is. We've pulled together analyses from several expert sources: Coinpedia, Changelly, CoinCodex, BitScreener, and FX Leaders too.
A good mix.
Exactly. And our mission for you today is basically to cut through all that noise, understand these, often varying forecasts, and see what factors are driving them so you can get a well-rounded picture without feeling, overwhelmed.
Sounds good. Let's unpack it.
Okay. So just to set the stage, what exactly is FLR? Why are we focusing on it today?
Sure. So FLR is what's called an Ethereum virtual machine, or EVM-based Layer 1 project. Its main job, its core purpose, is to provide really high-integrity, highly encrypted data to developers working on other projects, other blockchains, and the goal is to drive the production of decentralized apps, or DApps. Its native token is FLR, and the general market sentiment around its adoption, at least according to our sources, seems cautiously bullish, mainly because of its sort of unique approach to interoperability.
Right, getting different chains to talk to each other.
Exactly. Now, for a quick snapshot, remember, these prices are from when the analyses were published. The live price was reported anywhere from around, say, 0.0165 up to 0.0238 cents.
Okay, a bit of a range there already.
Yeah, definitely. Market cap generally between $708 million and maybe $1.71 billion. Circulating supply also varies, 42.85 billion to maybe 71.71 billion FLR.
Wow, that's a big difference in circulating supply figures.
It is, depends on the source and timing. Trading volume around $12.7 million to $15.3 million daily. And historically, its all-time high was roughly 0 and 8, let's say, back in early 2023. And the low was down around 0.1 cents, maybe a bit lower, 0.008 cents in late 2023.
Okay, so that gives us a good baseline. It plays a role in interoperability. We see its current standing.
Yeah.
But the big question is, where's it headed? And this, like you said, is where predictions really start to diverge, even just looking ahead a few months.
Yeah.
Let's zoom in on September 2024 first.
Okay. For the immediate outlook, Coinpedia was noting some ongoing consolidation for FLR, but they were eyeing a bullish exit because of a trendline breakout. They saw a morning star pattern, that's a bullish candlestick pattern, right at the 0.015 support level, plus an 8.38% surge over 2 days, making these nice green candles. This V-shaped reversal suggests a potential uptrend, possibly reaching 0.01950 or maybe even 0.0121 cents, and that 0.015 level seems to be holding as key support.
Interesting. So some positive short-term signs there. What about as we look towards the end of 2024? Do the sources agree more then?
Not entirely. Coinpedia expects a trend reversal rally starting maybe late Q3. They think it could reach a high of 0.046 cents, averaging around 0.0305 cents. Again, stressing that 0.015 support.
Okay.
FX Leaders is a bit more cautious. Their daily forecast was around 0.0223 cents, so a slightly bullish outlook, but within a pretty tight range.
Right.
And then Changelly, just looking at their FAQ, they suggested a 2024 range with a minimum near 0.04 cents and a maximum closer to 0.047 cents. So again, different numbers.
Okay, so even by the end of this year, we've got forecasts ranging from maybe 2.5 cents average up to potentially hitting almost 5 cents. Now, if that wasn't enough to make your head spin, let's look at 2025. This is where the landscape, it truly divides.
Yeah, this is where it gets really interesting.
Coinpedia stays pretty bullish, right? They're predicting FLR could climb up to a high of 0.092 cents, averaging around 2.5581. So they tie this to broader crypto and DeFi adoption.
That's their rationale.
But then Changelly offers a much more, conservative view. Their overall 2025 prediction has a minimum of 0.0258 cents, maximum 0.0292 cents, averaging around 0.0269, so hovering under 3 cents.
Big difference. And then CoinCodex just throws a real curveball into the mix.
Yeah. What do they say?
They're actually presenting a more bearish outlook, predicting a potential drop, get this, by almost 25% down to 0.017459 by September 2025.
Wow, what drops?
Yeah. Their overall 2025 range is between roughly 0.016 and 0.23 cents, averaging near 0.012 cents. They even go so far as to suggest investors could potentially profit by shorting FLR.
So betting against it.
Exactly, betting it'll go down. And just to add another layer, BitScreener projects an extreme low of 0.000003426 with an average closing price for 2025 of just 0.00 0.2409 ends.
Okay, wait, so BitScreener sees it potentially becoming almost worthless in 2025, while Coinpedia sees it heading towards 10 cents.
That's the incredible range we're talking about. From a significant drop, even suggesting shorting, to optimistic growth, to, well, a near total collapse according to one source.
It's quite something. If you had to pinpoint one reason for such a massive difference, what would it be? Is it just the algorithms or something else?
Well, I think what's insightful is digging into why the methodologies differ so much. Coinpedia, for instance, explicitly links their bullishness to global crypto and DeFi adoption. That's a big macro bet, right?
Right, a bet on the whole space growing.
Exactly. Compare that to CoinCodex. Their more bearish view might be weighted more by shorter-term technical signals, or perhaps their model heavily factors in things like Bitcoin halving cycles and how they historically impact altcoins, maybe predicting a tougher period.
Oh, okay. So different inputs, different weightings.
Precisely. It's not just different numbers, it's like they're looking through different lenses. Some prioritize broad market sentiment, others focus on specific technical patterns or historical cycles.
That makes sense. Let's extend the timeline now, moving into the medium term, say 2026 through 2030. Does this divide continue?
Oh, absolutely. The divide persists, maybe even widens in some cases. If you look at Coinpedia and Changelly, they generally maintain a bullish trajectory, just at different paces. Coinpedia, for example, sees averages potentially reaching almost 20 cents, 0.1961 by 2030. Changelly is a bit lower, but still optimistic, averaging around 0.1885 hours for that same year. So, both showing decent growth from current levels.
All right, so the bulls are still somewhat aligned, directionally at least. What about CoinCodex and BitScreener?
They offer a much, much more conservative, I'd even say bearish, path for this period. By 2030, BitScreener's average prediction is only around 3 cents, 0.03 cents. CoinCodex is a bit higher, maybe 6 cents, 0.6 average.
So even by 2030, we're looking at a massive potential range, anywhere from 3 cents on the low-end average up to nearly 20 cents on the higher-end average.
Exactly. It depends entirely on which expert's methodology or underlying assumptions you find more plausible.
So what does this all mean for the big picture of 2030, pulling it together?
Yeah, if we zoom out to that 2030 timeframe, the variance is just stark. Think about it. One source is predicting highs well over 30 cents, while another indicates it might struggle to even reach 3 cents on average. That's literally a tenfold difference or more for the same asset in the same year.
Incredible.
It really forces you to question the fundamental models and assumptions being used. How differently are they weighing factors like FLR's own ecosystem developments versus broader market sentiment, or, potential regulatory hurdles down the line?
Right, which leads us nicely into the really long-term horizon, 2031 to 2050. This is where the crystal balls get really cloudy, I imagine.
Oh, definitely. Things get highly speculative out this far. Changelly continues its very optimistic path. They predict FLR averaging around $0.27 in 2031, growing to an average of $0.80 by 2034. Then their projections take a massive leap. By 2040, they're forecasting an average of $15.19.
$15.
$15 average. And by 2050, an average of $23.12, with a potential maximum hitting $25.43.
Wow. Okay, so Changelly sees FLR potentially becoming a serious, high-value asset decades down the line.
That's their projection. But it contrasts sharply, very sharply, with the others. CoinCodex is explicit. They state FLR will not reach $1 or $10. Their highest estimate for 2050 is about 70 cents, 0.699021.
70 cents versus $25, okay.
And BitScreener. They align more with CoinCodex's conservative view. They predict an average of about 10 cents, 0.1002 by 2040, and then maybe 18 cents, 0.1844 by 2050, which also implies, it won't break that $1 mark in their model.
So one source has FLR potentially in the double digits by 2040 or 2050. Others suggest it won't even crack $1. That just perfectly illustrates the uncertainty, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. And it makes you wonder, again, what fundamental assumptions could possibly lead to such vastly different outcomes over decades? It often boils down to how you imagine the future of crypto itself.
How so?
Well, are you assuming mass global adoption where crypto is integrated into everything? If so, maybe Changelly's view makes more sense. Or are you assuming it remains more niche or faces significant regulatory roadblocks? Then the CoinCodex or BitScreener view seems more plausible. Plus, you have unknowable factors like major technological breakthroughs, either for FLR or its competitors.
Right. Trying to predict tech breakthroughs 25 years out is difficult.
Understatement of the year.
So, given this huge range, let's circle back a bit. Talk about the underlying technicals and fundamentals that some sources are using now? What are they seeing?
Okay, fundamentally, sources like FX Leaders and Coinpedia consistently point to Flare's core mission, enhancing blockchain interoperability, driving DApp production. This is seen as its key value proposition, potentially increasing demand for the platform and the FLR token. The overall market sentiment, as we said, is often described as cautiously optimistic, showing gradual upward movement, at least recently. But they also acknowledge the challenges, the regulatory microscope, intense competition from other interoperability projects. But Flare's scalability and potential for expansion are highlighted as major opportunities.
Okay, that's the fundamental picture. What about the technical side? What are the charts saying, according to these analyses?
Technically, it's quite interesting. CoinCodex actually notes a predominantly bullish sentiment based on their indicators, 26 bullish signals versus only 2 bearish ones when they checked.
26-2, that sounds pretty strong.
It does. FX Leaders also backed up a bullish sentiment based on recent price action. The Fear and Greed Index, which measures investor sentiment, was at 73 according to CoinCodex. That's firmly in the greed zone, suggesting positive investor feeling.
Okay.
The RSI, the Relative Strength Index, was around 53, 54. That's neutral territory, basically. It means the asset isn't seen as wildly overbought or oversold at that moment.
Right, balanced.
Exactly. Then you have moving averages. FX Leaders mentioned a bullish crossover, the 50-day simple moving average, SMA, moving above the 200-day exponential moving average, EMA. That's a classic technical buy signal. And CoinCodex added that most other SMAs and EMAs across different time frames were also signaling BUI.
So lots of buy signals from the moving averages.
Yeah. And the ADX, the average directional index, which measures trend strength, was at 46.58 according to FX Leaders. Generally, anything over 25 suggests a strong trend, so this indicates Flare's recent price movement had real conviction behind it. It wasn't just random noise.
Okay.
FX Leaders also pointed out a squeeze in the Bollinger Bands. That happens when volatility drops, the bands narrow, and it often precedes a significant price breakout, either up or down, mind you.
So a potential big move coming, but direction uncertain from the squeeze itself.
Correct. And finally, Flare was trading above its pivot point, another generally bullish sign. CoinCodex also mentioned its correlation positively correlated with some altcoins like XTC Network and Conflux, but negatively correlated with Bitcoin and some other major coins at the time.
Those technicals certainly sound quite bullish on paper, like you said, 26-2 signals. But then how do we square that with BitScreener's prediction for 2025 showing that almost catastrophic drop, or CoinCodex themselves predicting a short-term dip despite their own bullish indicators? How do they reconcile that?
That's the fascinating part, isn't it? It shows how these technical indicators, even when pointing generally positive right now, get interpreted or weighted differently within complex algorithms, especially for longer-term forecasts.
So the algorithm might see current strength but predict a downturn based on other factors.
Exactly. While many technicals might scream buy today, the long-term models from BitScreener or even CoinCodex might be giving more weight to broader market cycles, potential economic headwinds, or, as CoinCodex specifically mentions, the historical impact of Bitcoin halvings. Their algorithm explicitly uses those halving cycles as a major input, which can sometimes lead to more cautious or even bearish predictions for altcoins during certain phases of the cycle, regardless of Flare's own current positive signals. It suggests some models prioritize these big macro crypto trends over the coin's specific micro-level technicals when looking further out.
That makes a lot more sense. It highlights the complexity. Which brings us to a crucial point. As we've seen, Flare's future price is incredibly uncertain, and we have to stress none of what we've discussed today is financial or investment advice.
Absolutely not. The crypto market is notoriously volatile. You see these wild, sometimes seemingly arbitrary movements. Prices can swing dramatically very quickly, and that can lead to significant losses.
It really underscores the need for you, the listener, to do your own thorough research. Look at multiple viewpoints, understand the tech, know your local regulations before ever considering an investment.
Couldn't agree more. And FX Leaders actually provides a useful way to think about this volatility with their $1,000 investment scenario.
Right. What was that again?
They said, look, if there's a bullish breakout, maybe a 10% price increase, your $1,000 could become $1,100. If the price just moves sideways, well, it stays around $1,000. But if there's a bearish dip, say negative 10%, that $1,000 could drop to about $900.
Simple illustration, but effective.
It is, and it really prompts that important question you need to ask yourself. How much risk are you personally comfortable with? Understanding these potential swings, both up and down, is just critical for planning, especially in a market as unpredictable as crypto.
So we've really navigated a complex map today, haven't we? Charting FLR's price predictions from those cautiously optimistic short-term views to the wildly different long-term projections.
Yeah, quite the journey.
We've touched on the fundamental strengths FLR's tech, aiming to boost dApps and interoperability, but contrasted that heavily with the speculative nature of the price forecasts and just how differently the experts approach them. Our goal with this deep dive was really to help you cut through that noise, to give you a clear, multifaceted understanding of where FLR might be headed based on these different analyses.
And hopefully highlighted the why behind those different views.
Exactly. Which leaves us with a final thought for you to ponder. Given how widely these experts disagree on FLR's future price, what unique insights or factors do you think will ultimately be the biggest drivers or maybe the biggest roadblocks for its adoption and its value in the long run? Something to think about beyond just the price charts.